Welcome to another night in the NBA. This is your 10-minute recap of the last night of NBA hoops, a night with 8 NBA games, but I want to start off with Pacers versus Cavs, a game in Indiana. No Donovan Mitchell, Max Strus, or Evan Mobley for the Cleveland Cavaliers. It felt like a very clear win for Indiana, but they lose it. They lose this one on their home floor to the Cavs, a Cavs team that is not even close to at full strength, and they lose it because Tyrese Haliburton's struggles continue. Yes, 14 points and 12 assists doesn't sound awful when you just say it out loud, but 28.6% from the field is disgusting, and 11% from 3 is even worse. He has been really bad since he came back from that hamstring injury on January 30th. I want to start this by saying he is definitely playing through injury. He's playing hurt because he wants to hit that 65 game requirement, but the really sad turn of events to me is I think even if he plays through it and hits that 65 game, I don't think he'll make All-NBA if he continues playing the way he is right now. Maybe the voters will throw him some pity points and get him on it anyway, because if he makes All-NBA, it's a $40 million difference in his contract between the max and the super max that he could get if he makes at least third team All-NBA, but it doesn't feel like he should at this point, because before he came back from that injury on January 30th, his stats were looking great. He was putting up 24 points and 13 assists per game, was shooting basically 50, 40, 90, was super efficient, was an all-star starter. A lot of people thought he might be a potential first-team All-NBA guy. He had been that good for the season. The dude was special. But since returning from that injury, he just hasn't been the same, and a lot of it is because of playing through injury, but it's really hurting the way he's performed on the court, because since returning from that injury on January 30th, Tyrese Haliburton has averaged 15.6 points per game, down about 9 from his 24 before that, as well as 9.2 assists, which is still towards the top of the league, but it's nowhere near the game-changing 13 he was putting up before. His shooting has dropped to 44% from the field and 28% from the three-point line. He just cannot shoot anything right now. And down the stretch of games recently, a lot of their losses have been because he's shooting them out of it. He's taking these shots that before he was hitting, but now he's just missing all of them, and it's letting the other teams pull away. If we make it more extreme, look at the last 5 games, the counting stats are a little better. 16.6 points, 10 assists per game, but the efficiency has gotten even worse. 40% from the field and 16.7% from 3 is horrendous. That's worse than the Thompson twins, who have both been below 20% pretty much all season long, and Tyrese Haliburton is below that. It's just you don't have to respect the shot at all right now because he cannot hit the broadside of a barn. There's just nothing going in. I don't know if he could shoot it into the ocean off a boat the way he's shooting right now. Tyrese Haliburton just cannot hit any shot. The playmaking is still there. He's still one of the best passers in the league, but the numbers just aren't all that good. They're definitely not all-star level, and especially not all-NBA level, and they're going to drop his stats enough where there have been a lot of really good guards this year. It's going to be hard to argue that he should make it over them. You have Luka and Shea are probably both first team. Let me just pull up some of the guards in the league right now, because Jalen Brunson is obviously over him as well, just for the season as a whole, but there's just been a lot of really good guards this year. You have Luka, you have Shea, Jalen Brunson's over him. Anthony Edwards is definitely over him right now because of how he's playing. De'Aaron Fox, Damian Lillard. I don't think Steph will have enough games, but if he does, he'll be over him as well. DeMar DeRozan should be over him. There's just so many guys that feel like better options than what you're getting from I don't know where this sound is coming from, than what you're getting from Tyrese right now. Sorry for that. That was bad. But Tyrese just can't shoot the ball. There are a lot of good guards this year. If you consider DeMar a guard, he has a really good case. So it's going to be hard to put him in, and it's positionless this year. So even if it's not just guards, you have forwards and centers with better cases as well. So for Tyrese, it's going to be really tough to make All-NBA, and it almost feels like he's playing through injury and maybe hurting the future of his career for nothing, because there's a strong chance he's not going to make it. And it's really sad to see the fall off of Tyrese Haliburton over the second half of the season. But now let's move on to some other action from around the NBA. So in other action around the NBA, we did have 7 other games on the night. Let's go through each of them, just trying to get an idea of what happened on this night of NBA hoops. We can start off with Sixers versus Heat. No Jimmy Butler for Miami, no Tobias Harris for Philly, so a kind of depleted game on both sides, but Philly comes out on top in Philadelphia, 98-91, 30 points and 10 assists for Tyrese Maxey, 22 for Kelly Oubre, 16 for Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry has quietly been pretty good since joining the Sixers. And then for Miami, you get 20 and 13 from Bam on 80% shooting. He was phenomenal. Bam puts up about as good of a performance as you could ask for, but it's not enough because they still fall short. 20 for Terry Rozier, but shoots just 38% from the field. As a team, the Heat shoot sub 40%, shoot 36% from 3, and the Sixers win because they shoot 43.5%. Not a great offensive game. We can move to Celtics versus Pistons, a game that the Celtics win 119-94, despite missing some guys. No Drew Holiday, no Al Horford, no Jason Tatum, no Sam Hauser, but they still dominated. They win by 25. The Celtics continue to prove how deep they are as they continue to blow out bad teams despite missing a ton of players, because they just beat the Wizards without a bunch of guys as well. 22, 10, and 10 for Derek White with the triple-double, 23 for Peyton Pritchard, 31 for Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown has been phenomenal since the All-Star break and has probably been the Celtics' best player since that point. I don't even know if it's really arguable. 21 for Jaden Ivey, but no Cade for the Pistons, out with left knee soreness, I guess. It was listed as injury management that Cade was out. The Bulls, 110-107, take a win over the Portland Trailblazers, who make a furious comeback but do fall short. 23 for Ayo Dosunmu, who has his second straight really good game. 28 for DeMar DeRozan, and 22 for Vucci Main Nikola Vucevic. 30 for Anthony Simons, and DeAndre Ayton continues to play really well as well. 25 points and 15 assists for the former number 1 overall pick. Then we have Minnesota getting a second straight win in Utah, a little bit of a baseball series here. They win it 114-104, 32, 7, and 8 for Anthony Edwards, 13 for Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and 17 for Naz Reid. Lauri Markkanen does return for Utah, but it doesn't mean that they get the win. 22 and 12 for Lowry. He did play well, but the Jazz still falls short regardless of him playing. The Kings beat the Grizzlies in overtime, 121-111. They completely own overtime. The additional period was not close. But Memphis has some of its guys back. Jaren Jackson Jr. is playing, Desmond Bane is back, and it makes them a lot more competitive. They ran close with OKC, and then they take Sacramento to overtime, so that's good for Memphis, a positive sign. Could be a solid end to the season, so they feel a little better about their future. 25, 18, and 5 for Domantas Sabonis, 23, 7, and 10 for De'Aaron Fox, and 28 for Malik Monk. Those three continue to be their best three on pretty much any given night, in a really potent offensive trio. 24 for Desmond Bane, 22 for Gigi Jackson. The rookie continues to play well, even with the big guys returning. 25 for Jaren Jackson Jr., but the Grizzlies do lose. The Knicks get a big upset win in Golden State, 119-112, thanks to guard play. 34 for Jalen Brunson, 48% from the field, not bad. And you also get 29 from Deuce McBride, hits 6 threes, and has a true shooting of like 94%. He was lethal. Josh Hart plays 48 minutes and picks up another triple-double, 10 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists, was a +7. And Isaiah Hartenstein, a huge impact on this game, a +26, 86% from the field, 13 points and 10 assists for I heart. Then we have the Lakers getting a massive win in the last game of the night, a blowout win against the Hawks, 136-105. Three guys play really well for LA. D'Lo has 27, 25 for LeBron, and then 22 and 15 for Anthony Davis, 25 for Jalen Johnson, as well as a dunk on Austin Reeves. But outside of Jalen Johnson, not a lot of guys really played all that well, and the Lakers win it somewhat handily. Not even somewhat, they win it handily by 31. But that'll do it for this night in the NBA. Another night in the NBA. Now let's get to the next segment. This is the Moneyline Hotline, the place that keeps your bets from going cold. Really good day overall for the predictive model yesterday, as it did correctly predict 7 out of the 8 games on the day. The only one it got wrong, unfortunately, was in the best bet. It was Pacers over Cavs, the highest predicted likelihood of the day. But as Tyrese Haliburton continues to just really struggle post-injury, the Pacers weren't able to get it done despite no Donovan Mitchell. They had the clear talent advantage, but still lost in Indiana as well. So that is a tough one for the Pacers. But overall, 7 out of 8 correct predictions, including the underdog on the day, Knicks over the Warriors, which is plus 205. You got really good value on that underdog if you decided to take it. And the Heat lost, but it flipped to the Sixers because Jimmy Butler was out, and then the model was correct. The Sixers did win. It ended up being Sixers by 1.0 because Tobias Harris was out as well, in that even 2-1, but the Sixers still favored, and they did win. So that is another hit right there. And then we hit just about all of the clear favorites except for that Pacers one. Lakers, Celtics, Kings, and Bulls all win. We hit the standard game as well, Timberwolves over the Jazz, and again, Knicks and Sixers both hit. But let's move to today. Let's stop talking about yesterday, and let's look at the best bet of the day for today, which is Nuggets and Pelicans minus 110. Nuggets playing the Timberwolves. Maybe no Rudy Gobert. Either way, I don't think the Nuggets are losing 2 games in a row, and the Pelicans are playing the Brooklyn Nets, who they're just a complete level above. So together, that's minus 110. Turn your $10 to $19.09, or your 25 to about 47, 48, somewhere in that range. But now let's move to the model predictions for today as a whole, March 19th. The best bet is Nuggets and Pelicans, like I said. That parlay is actually minus 110, not minus 158. Sorry, I got that wrong. No underdogs today, only 5 games on the day, and all of them, at least 4 out of 5 are clear favorites, and then the Nuggets are a standard game, but I believe the Nuggets will win. And then the parlay, to extend that out a little further, is Nuggets, Pelicans, both in the best bet, and then Mavs and Rockets. The Mavs are playing, let me pull it up just so I don't deceive you in any way, give you the full picture here of who the Mavs are playing. The Mavs are playing the San Antonio Spurs. I just don't think they'll lose to them. And the Rockets are playing the Wizards. No Tyus Jones for the Wizards again, and they've looked awful without Tyus over the last couple. But yeah, I think they got it. The Rockets have won 5 straight. I think they'll make it 6. And that parlay, despite all of them being pretty clear, is plus 264. So over triple your money. Turn $10 to $36.40. As I'll always tell you, I'm going to say to follow the Twitter at @themoney_line to get the picks as soon as I have them. But subscribe to the channel, the Moneyline Hotline. We got a YouTube channel specifically for that now. You might be watching it on there already. If you want the picks on a daily basis, you want a high level of accuracy. We're hitting on over 70% of games for the NBA this season, and we're hitting about 62% of underdog picks, which is absurd. So if you're looking for great picks, great analysis, this is the place for you. But now let's move into the top 5 players of the day according to me. We'll start off with the top 5 here. Let me make myself smaller. I'm kind of in the way here. Covering up the best player of the day, which was Anthony Edwards Edwards, 32 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, and 57% from the field, as well as the dunk of his career, a massive poster on John Collins, and the Timberwolves beat the Jazz for the second straight time without Rudy Gobert. So props to Ant for lifting them up and really helping them get a win that they need. Maxey puts up 38 and 10 in their win over Miami, as well as being a plus 22. I believe it was either 3 or 4 straight games of 30 for Tyrese Maxey. Has looked really good over the past week. Then we have Domantas Sabonis coming in at number 3 with 25 points, 18 rebounds, and 5 assists. Didn't shoot super well from the field, but did shoot 13 of 15 from the free throw line, good enough for 87%. We have D'Angelo Russell at number 4, 27 points, 10 assists, 6 made threes, and 57% from the field. Really showed out in the Lakers' blowout win over the Hawks. D'Lo, LeBron, and AD all put up really good stat lines. And then rounding out the top 5, we have Deuce McBride, 29 points, 2 assists, 6 threes, and 93% true shooting. Also played 46 minutes. No OG Anunoby, that's all right, because Deuce McBride is going to play a ton of minutes. And like I said, the Knicks get a big upset win in Golden State against the Warriors, plus 205. That's great value. You're not really going to find better than that. And now let's get into the top play of the day, which you already know what it is. It's the Anthony Edwards poster slam over John Collins. But that'll do it for today. That's at the end of the daily recap. I hope you guys enjoyed. I love making the daily recaps. Hopefully you love watching them as well. But yeah, that'll do it for me. No viewer submitted questions today. So thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys. Peace.